All right, hi everyone. Rotimi Thomas here. Hopefully you can hear me. I'm speaking to you from Lagos, Nigeria. Thanks to Amin for the brief rock star shout out there. I do sometimes feel like one, but honestly, it's because the platform that the FEP program gave me has enabled me to kind of go from where I came from coming out of business school and where I am right now. So I'll just talk a little bit about that journey. Before business school, I actually was in banking as a trader, and then I had a moment where I had flash crash, I think around 2008 or 9 or so, and I said, you know what, I'd like to actually leave the earth someday with leaving a legacy behind, and that led me to a journey about getting involved with electrifying sub-Saharan Africa. To that end, I went to Duke University at the Fuqua School of Business and also did a master's at the Nicholas School of the Environment in energy and environment. And I actually wrote into my business school apps that one day I'd like to lead a team that's helping electrify the region in sub-Saharan Africa. Siemens ended up being the perfect platform for me coming out of business school. The FEP program in particular gave me C-level access to, I would say, some of the greatest thinkers that are within this organization to really navigate the finance community. And also, because of that community, also cross-collaborate with, for example, people on the CEO line of business and even the CEO program in itself. So I'll talk a little bit about the programs that or at least the assignments that I went through and kind of where I am right now and what I'm doing as an alumni. My first assignment actually was doing financial analysis for projects within the transmission and distribution company for Siemens. Actually, I went into the company at a very challenging time, and that actually created a lot of opportunity to really create impact. So there was a lot of cash flow analysis, essentially your management accounting style of accounting, where you're looking at cash flows, you're doing budgeting, you're looking at forecasting. So I was there as a sub-segment associate controller and supporting with that type of analysis. Extracted a lot of data, worked across different segments and business units to essentially produce a set of analysis that helped the company better manage its cash flow because it was a very challenging time then. That was great. I then started to ask myself at the time, okay, Siemens has a world of opportunity to offer. So what kind of more strategic things can I start to get myself involved in? And I noticed that Luis just mentioned, he just talked about very quickly the Galapagos Islands. I actually joined as my next assignment, task 2, which you see on the screen there. I joined a group called Smart Generation Solutions. That was one of the first versions of, I would say, distributed energy solutions. And we actually developed a microgrid in Galapagos Islands, which I believe he was referring to, which shows you actually the connection between all of our assignments and our thought processes here, which actually, it helps create a hybrid between solar, energy storage using lithium batteries, and diesel generators, putting in fisheye cameras that track the clouds and can predict when there will be less sun and so on and so forth. I developed what was called the Renewable Energy to Grid Guarantee, Performance Guarantee, which enabled us to essentially create an insurance business model for our hybrid microgrid technology. So if the sun wasn't shining or something of that nature, we could more or less factor that into our calculations of our technology and guarantee that to the end customer that we would cover them for that period. So it was like designing like an option. So that was a really cool assignment. It really opened my eyes to the innovation and the desire for innovation within Siemens. It moved me slightly away from the more traditional, I would say, operational finance topics and gave me a mix of both. Loving microgrid so much, I went on to my third assignment where I worked in the U.S. And this was the really cool thing about this assignment. And I actually recommend it for many people if they come into the company, is I worked hand in hand with a guy called Constantin Genet, one of my best friends within the company. And actually, he was from the CEO STAR program in itself. I learned a tremendous amount working with Constantin, and we actually went to the U.S. together and helped to create methodologies of valuing microgrid technology, at least the control technology, and actually even were able to sell a few microgrids together using this basis. And I think that's something that's now leveraged in other parts of the world. With all of this experience and with the great platform, once again, that Amin and the team provided me, I then looked to my exit opportunities and wanted a hybrid between, I would say, the strategic elements and developments, as Amin spoke about early on within Siemens, a capital markets opportunity, an opportunity that would put me squarely in a place like sub-Saharan Africa where I could work on electrification of more greenfield environments. And that was kind of how I landed myself in the development funding team of a group called Gas to Power. So right now, I'm the head of market development for sub-Saharan Africa for that team, which is called Gas to Power. What we do is we essentially look at the entire value chain of how countries like Nigeria, Ghana, so on and so forth, can leverage gas, which is very ubiquitous in those areas, and use it to electrify nations. I have the ability to invest our own money actually into developing those projects, into taking equity in those projects, and into even looking at debt and developing the projects from A to Z. That's what I do here in sub-Saharan Africa. I work with a team that's globally dispersed. I'm constantly hanging out with private equity guys and trying to innovate business models for Siemens here in the region. And hopefully, maybe one day we'll be connecting with you guys when you join the company.